welcome to Cello Tuesdays. I'm Diane Chaplin. A few housekeeping announcements before we start. Those of you who have been loyal Cello Tuesday listeners have noticed that Nancy Ives and I are splitting the Cello Tuesdays. I'm going to be doing first Tuesdays of the month, and I believe she's going to maybe do the middle of the month, third Tuesday, but you can follow both the Portland Cello Project page, Nancy's Facebook page to find out that info. And in August, August 3rd is the first Tuesday, I'm playing a program called Passacaglia, in which I will make my debut as a looper. I bought a loop pedal to play a piece that I think is going to be really cool to listen to, that layers the variations of the Passacaglia one on top of each other using the loop pedal. So I'm very excited about that. Another thing that I just want to mention for those of you in the Portland area, the Portland Cello Project is playing a live show, yes, live, at the outdoor venue, The Lot at Zidell Yards, which is a fantastic place. This is on July 18th. There are very few tickets left, but if you don't have one yet, you can probably still grab one in the next couple of days. It's going to be our Extreme Dance Party, which is a super, super high energy, fabulous show. All kind of songs, some familiar, some not, dance opportunities, and so I encourage you to go get tickets for that because it's going to be really cool. The venue's also really beautiful. We played there in May, and it's socially distanced pods. They're really, really cute. You get your little, like a little square of green fake grass and table and chairs in your little picket fence. It's super adorable. Highly recommend. That's July 18th. Tonight I'm going to be playing a program called Capriccio, and I'm going to start with some capriccios. So the first piece that I'm going to play is called Two Capriccios and Five Variations, and it's by a composer with the unlikely name of F.X. Hammer. He is really Franz Xaver Hammer. He was a German composer from the classical era, and his name sounds kind of funny. I mean, it sounds like a rapper name or something, but even during his time, I have evidence that they made fun of his name. They knew that hammer was the word it is in English, because his nickname, or another name for him, was marteau, which means hammer in French. So they made fun of him even then. He is a rare composer in that he wrote a solo cello piece during the classical era, which is not usual. There's virtually no solo cello music from that era, because it's an era where the music is melody plus an accompaniment that might go like, right, with that kind of continuous accompaniment with a melody on top of it. But Hammer was a very renowned cellist during his day. He was about a decade younger than Franz Joseph Haydn, the great master of the classical period. And in fact, he worked for Haydn. He played in Haydn's orchestra at Prince Esterhazy's estate. And so he well steeped in this classical style. Hammer also actually played the viola da gamba, which was quite out of fashion by this point in the classical era. But most of Hammer's surviving compositions are actually for viola da gamba. So this piece is in 3 movements. It really is kind of like a sonata, like a fast movement, slow movement, fast movement. But Hammer did not choose to call it a sonata. The fact that it's called Two Capriccios and Five Variations leads me to believe that maybe these were disparate works that were not written to go together, but they were published as a set. That was very popular, to publish short pieces as a set. So we can kind of think of them that way. It'll be a fast movement, a slow movement, and then a set of fast variations. This is Two Capriccios and Five Variations by Franz Xaver Hammer. In the hot weather, I'm going to have a glass of water. I have all my windows closed and I have no air conditioning because I don't want to have any sound. So I'm going to build up a sweat. I can already tell. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play a sandwich of 3 works, which are all very short, 2 minute, 2 minute, and 1 minute. The first one is a chaconne, which is a set of variations on a simple, basically a bass line. And I actually played the chaconne. It's by Giuseppe Colombi. I played it in March on my first 2021 live stream. And when I played it, I did not know that 31 composers had written pieces based on this actual chaconne. And since then I discovered them. And so the second thing that I'm going to play is a piece by the French-American composer Betsy Jolas. And she has written one of these variants on this chaconne, which she calls a fancy for Anssi. And I think that the idea of the fancy fits well in our Capricious program here. This fancy for Anssi was one of the set that was written for the Finnish cellist, Anssi Kartunen, who's really a wonderful cellist, and he does a huge amount of contemporary music. And for his 50th birthday, there was this surprise package of mystery pieces that 31 composers wrote, all based on this first chaconne that I'm going to play. So I'm going to do the chaconne and then the Betsy Jolas piece, which I think she's not really making fun of the chaconne, but I think she's having fun writing the piece because she is, Saraband, please, someone writes, Saraband, I don't know, I don't have a Saraband right now. No Sarabands right this second, but thank you for the request. So Betsy Jolas writes some funny sounds and some quirky little things in her piece that I think are reflective of how much fun she's having with this fancy piece. And I challenge you to see if you can find any little bits and pieces from the chaconne that appear in her piece. And then to finish up this sandwich, I'm going to play a quick little capriccio, which is by Serban Nichifor, who's a Romanian composer and cellist. And this is a capriccio on a theme by Jobim, the famous Brazilian songwriter. So, chaconne by Colombi, a fancy for Anssi by Betsy Jolas, and capriccio by Serban Nichifor. So those are fun. It's all fun music. Even when it's not fun, it's fun. So the last thing on the concert that I'm going to do, I'm at the end already. How is that possible? So this is the kind of the signature piece for this concert. It's called Toccata Capricciosa by Miklós Rózsa. And you know, when people like me put together programming, we usually base it on one of two things. Either it's a calendar situation, such as my September First Tuesday program happens to fall on Rosh Hashanah, which is the Jewish New Year. So I'm going to do an all-Jewish program for that concert featuring some Israeli composers and some klezmer music for the Jewish New Year. So there obviously is a calendar-based programming choice. But I've had this Capriccio obsession for a couple of years, and I have been playing programs called Il Violoncello Capricciosa. And in my travels, I have been picking up Capriccios. And this one I've waited to play. I've really been wanting to play this one, so I'm really thrilled that I get to play it right now. The composer Miklós Rózsa is mostly known as a film composer. And he was born in Hungary to a Jewish family, and he converted because Eastern Europe in the early part of the 20th century was not a great place to be Jewish. He did convert, but in the 30s when he saw the writing on the wall, he just got out of there entirely. And he ended up in the US, where he went to Hollywood and started writing music for film. So the first movie that he wrote a film score for was The Thief of Baghdad in 1940. He had, in his career, 17 Oscar nominations for his film scores, and he won 3 Oscars for Hitchcock's Spellbound, for the film A Double Life, and for Ben-Hur. So even if you don't know the name Miklós Rózsa particularly, chances are you've probably heard some of his film music. Other things that he wrote, his last 2 films were in 1981, Eye of the Needle, and in 1982, and I think this is kind of a hilarious thing to have as your final work for film, the Steve Martin movie, Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. And then unfortunately after that he had a stroke. He did not pass away till 1995, but he was not able to work for film for the last several years of his life. This work was written in 1977 and is dedicated to the memory of the great cellist Gregor Piatigorsky, who had died not long before this time, who was also in LA. They clearly knew each other there. And one of the things through Rózsa's career, he really separated what he considered his industry music, his film music, and the music that he wrote as his serious art music, which this is, for sure. What he does in this piece is he uses Hungarian folk music and the idea of Hungarian nationalism, much like his compatriots Béla Bartók and Zoltán Kodály, and you may hear elements that sound like their compositions in this music. 2 of the things that I just want to mention that he uses in this piece is harmonic language that does things in parallel. So rather than being harmonized, the notes move together at the same pace like this. So that's one of the harmonic kind of things he does. And another technique that you'll hear really just sprinkled throughout the whole work is this idea of notes going do-do, 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 like this. And I believe that is an imitation of the Hungarian folk instrument, the cimbalom, which is kind of like a piano opened up. It's basically a thing that sits on a table and you hit it with hammers and they go dee-doo, 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 dee-doo. So whenever I hear that kind of passage work in a composition by a Hungarian composer, I basically assume that they are evoking the cimbalom. Okay, this is the Toccata Capricciosa by Miklós Rózsa. Thank you so much for listening. That was really fun to play. I'll be back in a month. I'll be back the first Tuesday of August. I'm going to actually look at some of the comments just in case anybody asked a question. And this will be available. People say I was late, but I'm glad I missed this one. Didn't miss this one. You can always watch these live streams if you missed any of it and you want to see early parts of it. They are up on my Facebook page, Portland Cello Project page. They also should be, I have just turned the setting on to go to my YouTube channel as well as the Portland Cello Project YouTube channel. So they should all be appearing there. Thank you so much for checking in. I'm Diane Chaplin. I'll see you on August 3rd for Passacaglia. Bye-bye.